Hey everybody, is your computer running really slow and just taking forever to boot up? Well, I've got a Dell Precision M4800 right here that's doing that exact problem. It'll take 5, 10, sometimes even 15 minutes to boot up before it can start working and I can open programs and use it. So what I've done is if you'll go in and you'll look in the device manager right here on Windows 10. Now it's going to take it a minute to pull up, but I wanted to show you. You can look and see what kind of a drive is in the computer. Now, if it's one of them that's already NVMe, you've already got one of the fastest drives that you can get. But if you're using a SATA hard drive, then that can definitely be sped up. And I'm going to show you how. And if you'll notice right here, it's a Toshiba MQ02ABF050H, which is a Toshiba 500 gigabyte 5400 RPM hard drive. That is incredibly slow. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close out of this. And I have gone and I have bought a brand new Samsung 870 EVO 1 terabyte solid state drive. Now this is a SATA solid state drive. It's not an NVMe because this computer will not handle that. But I went ahead and bought a SATA one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to take out the solid state drive from the box. And there's the new solid state drive. And you're thinking, okay, that's great. So what can I do to make it faster? I want all my information that's on this computer on here. That's great. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I have a cable that goes from USB, not USB-C, but regular USB to SATA. Now, if the computer happens to be a newer one, you can get an adapter that'll go from USB-C to USB-A. But this one doesn't have the USB-C. So I'm just going to plug in the USB-A to SATA, and I'm going to plug in this solid state drive, and then I'm going to plug it into one of the USB ports. Now, the computer will immediately come up and it'll recognize the SSD. But we need to get all of our information over there. So what do? Okay, so one thing I love about Samsung is they've made a piece of software that you can download from their website, and it'll immediately copy everything that's on your computer onto the solid state drive. So let's go over, and I'm just going to use Firefox because it doesn't have anything on it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go to samsung.com/support. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on software/firmware. Now, if you watch this further in the future, that button may or may not be there. Just look for the software button because that's what we're going to need to find is the software from the Samsung website. And we're going to download the software that's associated with the Samsung 870 EVO 1 terabyte drive. Okay, so on this page, I'm looking for that software. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. And right here, it has downloads, manuals, and software support Samsung US. So I'm going to click on that. Now, it may be a little bit different if you're in a different country, but it's going to be something similar to that. So I'm going to scroll down again. Now it says I can choose my product or I can search for the model. Now if I look at the box, on here should be a model. Yes, it's very small, but this specific one I bought is MZ-77E1T0B/AM. So I'm going to start typing that in and see if it'll autofill it for me. It did. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the 870 EVO SATA 2.5-inch SSD 1 terabyte. Now when this comes up, it should give me a list of software that I can download for this drive. And there it is. It's called the Data Migration Tool. Now I'm going to scroll down just a little bit just to show you some of the other stuff. They've got a Magician software. That's nice too, but the one I really need is the data migration. So what I can do is copy everything from here onto here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download that. Once it downloads, we're going to go ahead and install it. It may take it just a few minutes to download and then a few minutes to install. Okay, so it's finished downloading. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. It'll open up in just a moment. If it asks you to allow the app to make changes, just click yes on it, and then it'll open up the program so that it can finish installing it. Again, you'll want to choose your correct language. I'm going to leave it as English, United States, and click next. And then it's going to go ahead and it's going to prepare the setup, and then it may want me to answer some more questions. And then I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to click I accept the terms of the license agreement and click next. And then I'm going to click install. Okay, now I'm going to click finish on the Samsung data migration installation. And then I don't need the browser anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of the web browser. I've got the data migration program open, so I've got the Toshiba right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the target drive, which is the Samsung SSD 870 EVO 1 terabyte. And I'm going to click on that. And so it's going to copy 360 gigabytes from the current drive to the new one. And all I have to do, it's so simple. I love this program. It makes everything really easy for you. You just click start. And then it says your computer will be shut down after the data migration. And you're just going to click OK. And then once that finishes, it'll be ready for us to put the drive in. And I'll show you what to do when we get to that point. So I finally got everything copied from the hard drive to the solid state drive. Now, the Samsung data migration program failed every time I ran it. So I tried two different programs. I tried OME Backupper and I tried Macrium Reflect. Now, both of those actually failed as well. So, what I did is I went in to the command prompt. So, I clicked right here on search. I typed in CMD to open the command prompt. And I ran it as administrator. Once that opened up, I ran one program and I also ran another program. The first one I ran in the command prompt was SFC /scan now. Now what this will do is it'll scan your file system to make sure that all the files are okay. Now that's going to take quite a while for it to run. So just type that in, let it run, come back in maybe an hour and check on it and see if it finished. And if it did, it'll fix any of the problems that it finds. The other thing I did is I went down here to the File Explorer and then I went to the C drive. So I scrolled down and I went to the C drive and I right clicked on it and I went to Properties. Now here, as you can see, is your OS C:\properties. And then I went into the tools and I did an error checking for the hard drive. So I clicked on check and then I told it to scan the drive. Now that's going to take a while also. Now neither one of those actually fixed the problem, but both of those might fix your problem if you encounter that. So what actually fixed it for me, I'm going to close both of these. If you'll click right here, if you'll notice I have McAfee and I have WebRoot running. Now the McAfee is only protecting me from websites, whereas the WebRoot's protecting from antiviruses and any other kind of threats that I might get on the computer. Well, once I disabled both of those, I disabled the firewalls, the antivirus, the browser protection. Once I disabled all that and I went back in and I told it to do a clone, it worked perfectly. So, if you have any problems, you might want to make sure that your antivirus protection is not currently on while you're doing the clone. And that will fix the problem if you encounter it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this computer down. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the drive in. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that once I get this shut down. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your computer is shut down. So I've shut this computer down. And I'm going to go ahead and disconnect everything from it. Now, I had a mouse plugged in, I had the new solid state drive that I'm going to install plugged into it, and I had the power. So I've disconnected all those. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and I'm going to use my toolkit, which I've had this for a while, but it works fantastic. It's from iFixit, and it's a fantastic toolkit. I'm going to include a link down below in the description, which is for a new version of the same toolkit. May even have a few more tools than mine doesn't have, but it does everything that I need it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and open this and get the tool out that I need so we can take this apart. Okay, so it just needs a standard screwdriver tip. So that's what I got. I got a small one. It's PH0 in case you need to know. And then what I'm going to do is the first thing, of course, is I'm going to take out the battery. So I'm going to take this little lever, I'm going to pull it over, and I'm going to slowly pull up on the battery, and the battery just comes loose. And I'm going to set this over to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this bottom off. Now, it's really easy. There's only two screws. There's one that's supposed to be right here and one that's supposed to be right there. Now, this computer happens to be missing one of them, but I'm going to go ahead and take this one out. And then just set that screw to the side. And then all you have to do is just slowly pull up towards that direction, and it'll slowly come off, and then you can just put that out of the way. Now you have access to everything on the bottom. Your RAM, the hard drive is right underneath here, the fans. So this is great. We just need to get the hard drive out, of course. So there's 4 screws. There's one here, 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 and here. And then there's one last one, which is a locking screw, which is right here. So I'm going to take all 5 of those out, and then we'll continue on. Now that I have all 5 of those screws out, the last thing I have to do is there's a little button right here that I just need to pull down on. And as soon as I pull down on it, it releases the hard drive right here. Now I can just pull out this little hard drive sled, and there's the hard drive. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the hard drive out of here, and we're going to put in this solid state drive. So the way that you do that is if you'll look at the bottom of it, you can see part of the hard drive right there. So I'm going to push up on that while I pull down on this, and the hard drive just pops free. Then I can just set the hard drive over to the side. And now I can take the solid state drive, and I'm going to put it in the same way. You want the pins facing that direction so that you can see them too. So it needs to face up in that direction. And I'm going to slowly put in this side and barely push it down. And then I'm going to finish pushing down this side, and it just clips into place. Now, I'm going to slowly push this back into the same slot that I had it previously. Make sure it goes nice and smooth. And then at the very end, you're going to give it just a little bit of a push, and it locks it into place. And then we're going to put those 5 screws back in, which won't let the hard drive come out, or solid state drive. It'll keep it from coming out. So let me go ahead and put those in. Okay, so the last thing I like to do when I'm putting a computer back together is I like to clean it out. So I'm going to pause the video right here, and I'm going to go clean out the fans, clean off all of this, and I'm going to clean off the bottom case. And then once I get all that clean, then I'm going to show you how to put it back together again. So I'll be right back in just a moment. Okay, so I got everything all nice and cleaned up, all the fans, the whole bottom. Now I'm just going to take the bottom cover, which I cleaned up as well, and I'm going to put it back on here, and then I'm going to slide it back into place. And then I'm going to put in that screw. Now you should have two. One goes here and one goes here. Mine only had one, so I'm just going to put it back where it was. That'll hold the case, the bottom cover, back in place. And then we're going to take the battery and we're going to put it back in. And then you just barely have to push down on it. And it clips into place. And now that's how you replace the solid state drive. So now I'm going to take the computer and I'm going to hook everything back up. And we're going to turn it on to make sure everything works perfectly. Hey everybody, okay, so I got the computer hooked up after I installed the solid state drive in the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and show you that we'll be able to boot into Windows. Now, there are other programs that you can use to copy the hard drive to the solid state drive if you're having trouble getting it to copy. I'm going to continue to put some of those other programs up there so that you can test those out and use them. But this one should work for you, and I hope it does. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to get back to you. And as always, because y'all do such a great job, please hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep putting up more great content. And also, if there's anything else that you'd like for me to create a video on, please let me know that too. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.